over. It's time for episode 114.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. The wait is over.
Let's get this thing started.
Go! Yeah! Yeah! Shawn! Yeah, stop fun! Yeah!
Welcome, one and all across the nation and around the world. I welcome you all to episode 114 of the In or Out Sports Debate. I am your host, Drew Willingham, along with two great special panelists today. I have to start this off with the 12-time Vault of Fame inductee. Yes, I'm not kidding. You can see it right here. The man's been here 12 times. He's ready to rock and roll. Once again, you know him as a student of the game, which you can see him Wednesdays on SIRTOBA Media, as well as on many other platforms as well, like the 3-Point Conversion, A7BN Sports, etc., as well as the Duval Dive podcast, which you can find on Fridays on this network as well, but also on other platforms known as A7BN Sports and their own Duval Dive YouTube channel. Got to give it up for the man, myth, and the legend, my man, Kyle Nash. Welcome back here, brother.
An honor, joy, and privilege to give America another win here on the Sports Debate Show. In or Out Sports Debate is always a place where I don't care who wins. Is it me? Is it the next guest? Is it Drew? Who wins? America. And with that in mind, let me be among the last to wish everybody a happy 4th of July here. Listen, real quick, I know we're going to have another guest on, but I always got to call someone out who I haven't done battle with yet. And Rob Johnson. I took down the boy wonder. I took down Cole Johnson. I'm creeping up in the Vault of Fame. Let's do this. I'm not afraid of you.
The gears are spinning now, Kyle Nash. You did this to me before, and you're doing it again. I bring you someone else tonight, okay? I bring you the man we're about to bring in right now. And I hear you. I'm not mad, okay? I love your suggestion. Maybe before summer's end, I'll talk to Rob. We'll see what we can figure out here in these streams. But with all that being said, without further ado, we have to give it up for a professional PA announcer in himself. Someone that I saw on another program and that we know is another brand, Legacy Maker Sports Network, and he called his shot. He wanted to be here. He took and made his shot, and he is here tonight. We have to give it up for the man, myth, and the legend, Mr. Shawn Mears. Welcome there, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, America, as Kyle would say. Thank you, Drew, for having me. Thank you, Kyle, for allowing me to even attempt to battle with you tonight.
Hey, you know, it's all good. So, and listen, I hear Drew Willingham mention the Legacy on Fire show, an excellent show. The spawning of this actual union here, that was the first time I did work with Drew Willingham, where I humbled him in the sport where I am weakest, talking about Winnie the Pooh holes. That's some nostalgia for us. Oh, no. Drew feels the pain all over like it was 2 years ago.
You did. And then if you remember, we brought that topic to this platform
Yes.
And you did it again. I'll even at least give you that too. All right. You did hand it to me when it came to Winnie the Pooh Holes. You did your homework, and I gave you the great nickname of Winnie the Pooh Holes. Okay.
That was wonderful.
There you go.
Hey, listen, I am more than happy to give you your credit there. Call it a tip amidst the whooping.
Shout out to the late Stuart Scott for that one. I can't take credit
Shout
for
out to
creating
the
that.
late Stuart
He was
Scott.
the one that actually created it, but I keep it living on because, or at least until his playing days were over, because not many people wanted to say it, and you challenged me on that, Kyle Nash. Speaking of challenging, we've had many challenges on this show before. We have to pay homage to everyone that's come before, just like we'll do after this episode, and that is take a look at the Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
Man, you took me back. This is why this show was so important, and this is why I am personally validating and vouching for this show. If you are anybody in media, sports, professional wrestling, anything, you need to be on In or Out Sports Debate with my man Drew Willingham, because this has got to be one of the most fun things I've ever done in a long time.
Ladies and gentlemen, that right there is the In or Out Sports Debate Vault of Fame, which you can find on these audio platforms listed right here: Spotify, Amazon Prime, Google Podcasts, and as well as download on iTunes. You can find SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real, to be awesome, on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, and on YouTube, which you may be watching here and now or in post-production. And as well, you can check out the latest on SIRTOBA.com. I'm back with two great panelists that we're going to have some awesome fire tonight. And with all that being said, we got to take this into the first round of action. Let's take this into round one.
Round one.
And here with round one, let's start this off with a little bit of NFL/NCAA action and take a look at the recent comparison of quarterback Shedeur Sanders to Geno Smith was absolute blasphemous. Kyle, we'll start this one off with you there, sir. When it comes to this topic at hand, how do you feel about this one? Are you in or are you out there, sir?
You know what? Already off the bat, fat kid in dodgeball mode has been activated. I am out.
Activation commence.
Right? This is really what we're doing here. We're comparing Geno Smith, who was coddled with one of the easiest defensive football schedules during that time. But remember, death, taxes, the over in the Big 12, okay? And that was back when there were still actually 12 teams in the Big 12. So with all that in mind, Geno Smith was never taking hits the way that Shedeur Sanders was. And by the way, despite doing that, Shedeur Sanders still looks like a fantastic football player and likely number one prospect today in the NFL. Would I pick him number one? I don't know yet. There's a lot of extra off-the-field stuff that comes with that pick, but that's a different show for a different In or Out Sports Debate. I don't even think Rob Johnson and I will be talking about this one yet, he says in a teasing fashion. But at day's end, here's where I come to. Geno Smith was never as good an athlete. Geno Smith never played a good defense, and when he did in a bowl game, and he looked awful. And by the way, he'll never have the problem of having to deal with a money issue with a backup linebacker on his team, because if he owes someone money, Dad'll pay it off. It'll be fine. Oh, wait, he doesn't have to do that. Shedeur Sanders has his own NIL. So in no way is Geno Smith even the same. And I have to go by college stuff at this point because, hey, Shedeur Sanders hasn't even had an opportunity to come to a resurgence 10 years after getting drafted and becoming an awesome quarterback in his own right, doing some nice things for the Seattle Seahawks. Listen, I'm all about the Geno Smith redemption arc, but let's be clear. There's a reason why he struggled as a Ute And I don't mean as somebody playing in Utah. I mean a youth, my cousin Vinny jokes. I'm sorry. You're a millennial, Drew. I don't know if you remember that movie or even were born late enough for it. But I make jokes, Drew. But no.
I'm a unicorn, Kyle.
You are a great unicorn, sir. You make this possible. I'm grateful for it. He says, keep fissing up the host desperately to win points back. But at day's end, I don't see how anybody said this. I didn't hear it. And if I had, I'm sure I would have complained about it on my show, The Student of the Game. Bing!
So let me get this straight first before we go to Shawn. You don't agree with the comparison to Geno Smith, or you do?
Oh, no, it's blasphemy to compare them. Yes.
So you are in on this one. If you agree that the comparison was blasphemous.
Oh, okay. Yes. The wording is important. Well, fine. Swimwear.
You know how I am with that wording, bro. All right.
The wording is important.
Yes.
Swimwear mode achieved. I am in there. Okay.
There you go. That's your karma from your millennial comment. Now to Shawn, let's take this to you there, sir. Are you in, or are you going to disagree with Kyle and go out?
I'm going to say this in my illustrious tone. Whoa, not so fast. I'm out, and I'll tell you why. If you look at Geno Smith and Shedeur Sanders, you understand why the comparison is there. They're both roughly around the same size. Geno at 6'3", 220. Shedeur at 6'2", 215. They both played roughly 40-some games in college. Geno Smith, 989 completions to 1,465 attempts. That's a 67% passing rating. Shedeur, 911 completions to 1,326, which is a 68% completion percentage. They both are right around 10,000 yards. The only difference between the two, like Kyle said, was that there was no defense in the Big 12 back then, and Shedeur is practically running for his life, which that is the difference. The difference is that Geno Smith, although unfair label has come into play because they tend to label darker skinned quarterbacks as dual threats. Geno Smith only attempted 4 rushing touchdowns in 44 games in college. He is not a dual threat. Shedeur, 17 rushing touchdowns. He is considered a dual threat. So therefore, I would say just with that one comparison, I'm out. But those, my friend, are the stats, and not so fast.
That was very, very well said. And it puts us early on in the episode in a position to where I'm going to tip the scales here with what I pick. All right. Now, the people decide who wins these rounds. All right. The people out there in the comments, whether you're watching live, drop them in the comments. I'm going to acknowledge you once we finish this first round, but also the ones that are watching post-production. Now, with all that being said, I have to look at both of what you said. I already had my mind made up before we got to this, but you both bring really good arguments. However, when it comes to picking whether this is blasphemous or not, I have to agree with Kyle. I'm in. You bring up a really great point, Shawn, when it comes to the comparison between the two, when it comes to the dual threat part, when it comes to, Geno Smith only had 4 rushing touchdowns. Shedeur's had 17 between his time between Jackson State and now here in Colorado. Great stat. However, Shedeur Sanders, when you break down the film, is not primarily known for being a rushing quarterback. He's mainly in the pocket. He only really runs when he has pressure. And they had a lot of pressure last year in Colorado, okay? He had the most pressure he's ever had in his entire life. Now, you drop down the great stats. Geno Smith, for what his NFL career has been, looking since he's came out of college, you got to look at he was replacing butt fumble in New York, okay? And, he didn't really have the fairest of opportunities, in my opinion, even though he didn't have some miscues. He was shuttled around. We saw him be the backup in New York and then finally make his way over to Seattle, where he finally got his resurrection. He had a really good 2022 season, but regressed in 2023. Now, I think 2024 is going to tell a really, really big tale on how the rest of his career goes, for one. The reason why I say this is blasphemous, though, is because Shedeur Sanders' college career is not over yet. He still has another year at Colorado, and then more than likely, he's going to be in the NFL draft next year. I don't see it any other way, even though I believe on paper, Shiloh's eligibility ends after this season, his brother, but I believe Shedeur has another year of eligibility if he really wanted to come back and play with his dad at Colorado. I'm going to hold my peace on this, even though this article that I read and which gave us this topic tonight was really, really intriguing with what was said. And even your point, Shawn, with your argument, like, I'm not even mad or anything about it. Like, it was a solid argument. This could go either way. Like, it kind of meets in the middle, as it could go either way. So my personal opinion on this, I just believe it's blasphemous because his college career isn't over yet. When he leaves Colorado, comes to the NFL, and has had 2 to 4 years of experience, once he finally gets into the game and based on his production there, then we can look back on what was said in 2024 if this comparison was legitimate or not. Not saying that it's not, but I just don't feel like we've fully gotten there yet because Geno is out of college and has been in the league for quite some time and has built his reputation. Shedeur's, in a way, even though he does have a little bit of a reputation built up within college football, it's just starting. So until you get to the NFL, until you have a few years to really make your name, I'm going to hold back and say that I think it's blasphemous based on, I think it's an opinion that's given a little too soon.
Let me add this too, Coach. I got to tell you, you bringing up the melanin factor as far as part of Geno Smith was going on is a spot on point. That being said, Geno Smith, to you, as you mentioned, this was a pocket guy because being a pocket guy was still cool. I always hated people calling Geno a dual threat because, as you mentioned, it's not accurate. But where I live, it's the same place where I live, regardless of the tone of the skin of the quarterback. You got to get tested. Do something against an SEC defense. Impress me for 30 seconds. Or maybe resurrect an entire program on the strength of a DB who became a coach and completely decided to put out a group of vegetarians, meaning no concentration on beef. I know you feel me there, Coach. So Geno is a star where Shedeur was made one by his name and rose to it. The other thing that I didn't mention in my point, but should, he's delivered on the hype of being under the shadow of the name Sanders. I mean, goodness gracious. Whoever out there is going to be named Sanders in the future is going to be screwed, right? You got Dion and Barry. Both sides of the damn ball have Sanders claimed for greatness. Listen, for all you out there, let your kid change their name if they're inclined, if they're going to play football. I'm just throwing it out there.
Shawn, you have a rebuttal to those statements right there? How you feeling?
That was well said. I tell you, that was well said. The only thing that I would have to say against that is, consequently, it's funny that both of them are in the Big 12.
Yeah. Now
it's kind of funny. So I think that's the other thing that comparison comes in at. But I think that's about as much comparison as you can get. Great point, Drew, about the guy's not done yet. So fantastic point.
Two different areas of football too. And by the way, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I will be covering them in person when they come to Orlando to play UCF with the black and gold banneret. So there you go.
Very, very great things stated in that first round. Looking forward to getting the clips out of that at some point this week to make some reels. That was absolute fire. And speaking of fire, we got some fire dropping in the comment section. Travis Holmes jumps in and says, "Y'all boys doing it big. Y'all got Emmitt Smith on the pod."
My Duval Dive co-host doing his thing to be entertaining. Shouts to Travis Holmes.
Funny. I'll take that. Hey,
Started out hot. I love it. Mickey Delaney says, "Let's get ready to rumble," he says. Mickey in the house, along with the comment cop, is ready to layeth the smack it down on all of your candy expletives. And my money is on Kyle Nash, Mickey says. Well, appreciate you being here.
Hell, my money's on Kyle Nash.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle dropping nukes. When we're dropping bombs, Kyle's dropping nukes.
Let's see, 1925. Okay, I got it marked. Thanks, Drew.
Legacy Maker Sports, Darrell's in the house, says, hey, fellas, have an amazing show. We appreciate you tuning in there, sir. Thank you for always.
Big D, what's up?
Sick Diggy's in the house, says, what's good, everybody? Looking forward to the commercial promos that he drops. He drops out all sorts of wild stuff for me to read during these shows, so you know it's coming at some point. Ike doesn't give a fuck is in the house, says, what's up, fellas?
True Willingham. I'm excited.
Man, we're up to our viewership's growing, man. I appreciate you guys out here for the support. Now, this is fun. Sick also says, you know it's going to get very competitive when the student of the game is involved. His grin is extra sadistic tonight.
I think it's because I was challenging Rob Johnson. I think that might be it.
Look at those eyes of Kyle Nash. He's staring into your soul and telling you, thank you. That's what he's doing right now. Sick Diggy. That's what's happening here in these streams. 2032 for your timestamp there, Kyle. Like, share, and subscribe. Let's give our man a boost with the algorithm. I appreciate it. Appreciate the love from you guys out here in these streams. Also, I remember my cousin Vinny. You can't overlook either Joe Pesci or Marissa Tomei.
Hey.
Oh, hey.
And she was banging. Aunt May was cool, right? You know, that whole thing. You know, y'all forgetting already Karate Kid was up in that beast, that Herman Munster was up in that beast, delivering the original Utes. The two what? Utes, the two defendants, whatever, that whole thing. You know, he was involved in that scene too as the judge. Yeah, excellent stuff. Thank you, Sick. Coach, I knew you knew what I was talking about. You know.
Sick. When it comes to flicks, Sick knows what's up, so he tunes in. Darrell says, still getting used to no unit. I know it's only been a few weeks since the unit has been gone, but it's in a better place. Hopefully it made its way through the mail to Locks of Love to make somebody a great wig.
Darrell bringing up the witness protection thing still? God, what's he doing?
I've kept some things alive, like the in or out slides still remain. Okay, the unit is still with us, and next week you'll see I can't give away the breaking news yet. We're going to get to it in a minute. You'll see that. You'll see the unit one more time. Also, the student of the game grins like a sadistic vice principal. This is absolute fire. Even Mickey says, Legacy Maker, I just click on your YouTube channel. I hope I did it right. As long as you click that subscribe button, you did it right there, sir. Subscribe now and never miss out on new content, whether you're looking at the Duval Dive, the Legacy Maker Sports Network, or right here when it comes to SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. And if you forgot,
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
Yes, sir. So back in action right here. We got one last comment as Legacy Maker Sports Darrell says, thanks, Mickey, for these out here. Every little bit helps when it comes to the algorithm. Speaking of helping out said algorithm, we got to take things into some breaking news before we get to the next topic. That breaking news is this. Next week, this time, episode 115 will be on your streams. The unit is back, Darrell. There it is. You got your unit on the TV right here. Sam Shady as well next Monday, 9:05 p.m. Eastern time for episode 115 of the In or Out Sports Debate. But most importantly, right here, right now, we are just getting started on this fire episode right here. Let's go ahead and take the unit into round two.
Round 2.
Here with round two, China should be barred from swimming in the Paris 2024 Olympics due to their involvement in the doping scandal. When it comes to this topic here for round two, I'll start this one off with you there, Shawn. How do you feel when it comes to this Olympic team and the doping scandal right here? Are you in or are you out on this one there, sir?
I hate to say it, but I'm in. Here's the reason why I'm in. 23 Chinese swimmers tested positive before the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. And their tests remain in a holding cell until after the Olympic Games were completed. Now, 11 of those 23 members of that said Chinese Olympic swimming team are allowed to compete in Paris. Here's why I say amen. Doping is something that has been done through the Olympic committee for years. It started with the East Germans. If you guys remember, before they had the different factions, they had the East Germans, and they had women track stars looking like China from the WWE before that was popular. And they were allowed to compete, and things weren't changing. And then you have the doping scandal of the '84 Olympics, where all of the track athletes that were competing that year, including FloJo, God rest her soul, and some other Olympic athletes that helped America get back to its prominence, were all doping. And then you had the scandal of the gymnastics team in the 1996 and 2001 Olympics, I believe it is. So, this is what I say. Hey, man, what I find interesting is this. The number one U.S. Olympian, or the most decorated U.S. Olympian in some of our times, has spoken out very, very vividly about this topic. And that will be one Michael Phelps. And let me just start by saying, whoa, not so fast, Mike. Not so fast. You got your own stuff to deal with. So let's not talk about what other people should be doing and what should not be doing, right? So not so fast. So therefore, I'm in.
Well said, Kyle. Do you agree with this? Are you in, or are you going to go against and say that you're out?
Well, hopefully I read the correction correctly, but if the statement is that China should be banned from competition, then listen, I'm still got this wedgie from my bathing suit with this swimwear. I am in. However, I do take issue with one thing, okay? If you're saying that people are getting, using as an example, China from the WWE, when it comes to Michael Phelps, he's using Afro Man. These are not comparable things, okay? Nobody ever said pot was a performance enhancer. And if they did, unless it was, unless it was a hot dog eating contest, which has its own scandal thanks to Chestnut and that whole thing, we'll worry about that then. How about that? But listen, guys, obviously, Coach has laid down the foundation greatly, and I'm putting it succinctly in one particular way. You need to treat a repeat offender like a repeat offender. I don't care if it's Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, the Chinese Olympics, whoever. The IOC needs to come with the thunder as if it was the Ginger Hammer and Roger Goodell, okay? But it's not going to do that. Why? And this is the part that frustrates me the most. They accidentally ingested the substance in food that they ate. Folks, this is really what we're doing? Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't doping. I was just accidentally getting myself stronger. What are we doing here, guys? At least come up with a good excuse. I mean, Coach, if I'm going to be late to practice, I'm going to do better than I thought that it was a different time than you told me it was 3 times. No. I accidentally set my clock wrong for Indonesian time on my cell phone. No. Okay, I'm gonna leave it at that, man.
Here we go. Can I rebuttal to that though? When you talk about ingesting to make food, or they ingested it in their food, I am a subscriber to Uncle Roger, and if you've ever watched Uncle Roger, MSG makes good, man, right? So hey, it could have happened.
MSG is now TMZ. The IOC needs to get involved with this because this could affect a number of
at least got to say Russia didn't get this creative when it came to their excuses. Okay, they didn't put that much thought into it. All right, and with that being said, it would be blasphemous if I disagree with you guys. We're gonna all agree with this. I'm gonna go in. Hiding drugs in your noodles, huh? I don't know what y'all are doing over there in China. Y'all got to figure it out. You know what you're doing. Don't try to pass the buck on, a plate of ramen or whatever it is that you're trying to pass the buck on, or, a bowl of rice. Whatever you're doing, it is not cool. Just own up. If you made a mistake, it's okay. Usually people are forgiven, give you second chances. I think you should get barred because you came up with some BS to try to slide it under the rug for one. 23 individuals that are locked in the vault. Basically, not like the Inner Sports Debate's vault of fame. That is the vault of shame over there when you are locked in there for getting a positive test for cheating, okay? And of course, bong hits after midnight for Michael Phelps did get him in a little bit of trouble, okay? At a party, hanging out, being young. That's what we all do at some point when we're that young, okay? Why do you think I put Notorious B.I.G. as our story background for this show when promoting this show, okay? Because that song right there talks about going to the top. And he made a little bit of mistakes along the way in there too. And so did these swimmers. Now, I'm not defending them by all means. I'm defending Michael Phelps because look at what he did. He deserves. He's a decorated athlete for what he did in that time. But these people who are swimming from China, and yes, a common people, they're individuals, just like you, me, and the other ones floating around out here in these streams, or in that case, in the water. They're not floating, they're actually swimming, but you know what I'm saying. When you're hiding some stuff in your bowl of ramen, noodles, your rice, and you're trying to just say that beyond the chopsticks, you got drugged by someone else, it's a cop-out. And I don't appreciate it out here. You need to own up to what you did. I can't say anything better than what my fellow said out here beyond the topic. All I can do is give you the entertainment. And that's what I aim to do with this one, is I fully support what they said for their topics at here on Ella at Bay. Tongue twister.
Beyond the chopsticks. Okay.
You like that, huh?
I wasn't ready.
I thought my Uncle Roger comparison was good, but that one was better, I swear.
Uncle Roger drops are always appreciated, man. Keep going.
That was great. And let's see what they said out here in the comments as a result. Mickey says that he is in on this topic, agrees with us when it comes to being in on this right here. Six says, oh no. Ike says, I am out. All they eat is noodles. They need a little help.
See, he was trying the Uncle Roger defense. You just did it better.
Sick, I apologize, said, I'm in. You can't allow a swim team to take part if they pop for PEDs. Then again, who remembers the documentary Icarus?
Ooh, okay.
See, Six always dropping in great comparisons to documentaries or movies out here, and there's an example of that right there. Mm-hmm. So very, very well said there, Sick. We appreciate that one. He also says, if the Chinese athletes are doping, then they're lying about their age. Exactly. Chinese gymnast from the Beijing 2008 Olympics. Anybody?
That's the repeat offender thing I was talking about. He's on board.
So he's on board with you on that one. And Mick says, crap, I read it wrong. Sorry, I'm out. Okay, so you agree with Ike. You and Ike are out on this one because they need a little help beyond noodles, beyond the chopsticks.
They're not going beyond the chopsticks like you are, Drew.
Yeah, I'm trying. But Six says, I remember Robin Williams had jokes about PEDs in the 1970s. He mentioned the East German athletes.
I'm trying to tell you, if you ever go watch those East German athletes, man, they look just like China. I thought China. Never mind.
Hey. Yeah, I see where you're sliding into. So they were the 70s. You had Russia in like the 80s and 90s. And then it moves on to like China in the 2000s.
Well, and Robin Williams made other references well beyond the 70s too. I think he dropped one in his Broadway show, the one that's famous for the golf skit, which I cannot do here because listen, there's more F-bombs than we've been dropping on this show. And I mean bombs, not actual F-bombs. Like, no, like forget it. Like you can't talk about golf because it's a 4-letter word. That's what I'm saying.
As long as we don't quote like George Carlin or Sam Kinison, I think we'll be okay. Or Richard Pryor, because Richard Pryor did go a little off the rails and tops too.
Oh my God. Start talking about a lion and then the game's over.
Six says, a student of the game's Afro Man song, Because I Got High, is a great track.
Again, so, Six mentioning another documentary, dropping in the bombs. I like it. Yeah.
And Nigel NG's Uncle Roger is the reason I avoid orange polo shirts. Sick also dropping nukes out here in these streams. You guys are absolutely crushing it in the streams with the comments, as well as my panelists are tonight with this episode. got to give ourselves a breather for a second for about 2.5 minutes, go to our first commercial break. But when we come back, we still have 3 great rounds left of this episode. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you here on the other side.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast, every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, look. Hey, stop playing games. Y'all already know. Go ahead and toss him some Willie Bucks. Ain't nobody playing around. Hey, $sign DWillie87. Go ahead and hit him up on the Cash App and go ahead and give him some Willie Bucks. Look at Drew looking stoic, ladies and gentlemen. Stoic on that $10 bill. So go ahead, slide my man over some Willie Bucks, and we good. That's all I'm saying. We good. How some Willie Bucks?
Drew Willingham.
In this case, yeah, you put the blame on Kyle Shanahan for apparently not preparing the team enough for the overtime rules, supposedly.
Cole Johnson.
Peyton was considered the winner, and he was the darling of all darlings for Gerald.
With a special appearance by Tyrone Alizé McDummy.
Ain't nobody calling me. Text. Delete!
Join these two football enthusiasts as they give you Total Football Talk. Live every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central on the SIRTOBA Media and the Comey Media YouTube channels.
Welcome back to the In or Out Sports Debate, episode 114, brought to you by
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
We are back for this extended stay when it comes to episode 114. And when it comes to that, let's go ahead and take this into round 3 and see what we got in store for you guys.
Round 3.
Here in round 3, Monica McNutt deserves to be roasted for the reasons behind her choice in WNBA Rookie of the Year. Kyle Nash, start this one off with you there, Mr. Basketball Aficionado. What do you think about this one right here when it comes to Monica McNutt's statements? Does she deserve to be roasted? Are you in for that, or are you out?
Well, doing my best, Hank Hill. I've got propane and propane accessories. Let's get the roasting going. So here's the thing. Generally speaking, I know this is one of those clever ones. Watch out, Mr. Mears, on what Drew Willingham can do with his questions. This is one of those where he knows in general where I stand on a particular take, and then has somebody on the outside makes it controversial, so I step in. Listen, even my dude Joey Raymond was set up with an ACC question where I had to dunk on him and remind him how bad the ACC is. This is another instance where I have to dunk on somebody. In this case, it's somebody far more famous. Listen, and I know it's great that she got dapped for, making a point to Stephen A. Smith that was about as legitimate as, Jon Snow's parentage. But what I'm trying to say is this, folks. The problem with this take isn't that she's cheering for Angel Reese. No, sir. See, here's the thing. If you've watched the Student of the Game podcast, bing, on 2 separate occasions, I have opened my show with quotes that have been misinterpreted and taken out of context defending Angel Reese. It has nothing to do with Angel Reese. The statement that was made by the reporter is, well, I'm not going to go all Cole Johnson say quote because I don't have it exactly in front of me, but what I am going to say is basing an individual accolade on a team's record, as you claimed you are doing, is absolutely stupid on its surface, outright, end of story, point blank, okay? This is like stealing the MVP in 2017 from Russell Carrington Wilson, who led his offense in every statistical category, not receiving in pancakes, and did more for his offense than Lamar Demetrius Jackson. Please put that into perspective for me. By the way, big Lamar Demetrius Jackson fan once he got drafted by the Ravens. But whole other question, punchline's this. My whole thing is you're comparing the team's performances to see who should get the Rookie of the Year. You're not giving any weight to the fact that the team that picked Caitlin Clark, who is sweeping the nation, whether you like it or not, gatekeeper. Yes, I called her a gatekeeper, folks. Facts of the case are those should not be in dispute. But the punchline continues that Caitlin Clark was the top overall pick for the reason the Fever were TRBL terrible. Here, little Charles Barkley loved to keep it all basketball, right? Punchline continuing. Angel Reese has achieved great things. If you want to pick Angel Reese as your Rookie of the Year, I ain't mad at you. Hell, I might even do that myself. Oh, no. I can cheer for black athletes, too. Yes, I can. And I will, and I have. Okay? So, no, do not make this a team-based award and ruin, again, your credibility by doing something so dumb. She has more double-doubles than anybody else in the WNBA. But why? Why do you need to manufacture this stupid and screw up the very thing you're trying to allegedly help and save? Do it on the merits of the player, because goodness knows, Angel Reese has become an all-star doing the same thing. Get up to her level, Ms. McNutt. That's all I'm saying.
Ask and you shall receive, Kyle Nash.
That's terrible.
There it is, queued up for you when it comes to that. Now, with all that being said, bring some really great points. Are you on the same page as Kyle when it comes to that, Shawn, or are you going to disagree with this, or are you going to go out?
I'm actually going to agree. I'm going to agree with Kyle because, yeah, I'll agree. And see, when I first heard the question, I had to go back and research because I didn't want to fall into the whole thing of the Monica McNutt Stephen A controversy and then looking back at some of her statements. I wanted to see exactly what she said. And to Kyle's point, you can't judge an individual award based on team's merit. But I still challenge myself to say not so fast, because we'll look at the numbers of, number by number. And I like to say, what has each individual done against top competition? And so when I compare the two, I'm only going to talk about 4 games here. We're talking about Caitlin Clark's 4 best games and Angel Reese's 4 best games, and who were the particular opponents. I think all of that does have something to do with it. Being a former coach myself, it was hard for me to get happy over games that I won when I blew out inferior opponents. It was just hard because there was a thing inside of me that knew that we're supposed to do that. And so in Caitlin Clark's 4 biggest games, they came against the Mystics, the Dream, the Spark, which aren't very good, and the Seattle Storm, which they're in relative 3rd place. In Angel Reese's 4 best games, she did that against Indiana, which is, to Kyle's point, not very, very good. That's why they drafted Caitlin Clark. Seattle and New York. So they're both kind of even. And when you look at the numbers between the two, Caitlin Clark's at 16 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, but with averaging 5.5 turnovers. Angel Reese, 14 points, 11.9 rebounds, 2 assists, 1.5 steals, and 3 turnovers. So the numbers are pretty much identical. I think this is a coin flip. Personally, my vote will go for Caitlin Clark because of what Kyle had alluded to. She is taking this game by storm. And so therefore, you have to ride the coattails of the money train. So for that reason, I'm in.
Both of you bring up some really great points with that. And, I've always disagreed when they want to give, awards to somebody for team success over individual success. And I'm going to say for the second straight round, we're going to be all in on this one. That both Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark are rewriting the record books right now with certain things that they're doing out there with double doubles, triple doubles. I mean, when you are at a point, when you pass Candace Parker for an award for a stat line, you're doing something right. Okay. So putting all that in perspective, let's circle this back around to Monica McNutt. Okay. Monica McNutt. She has a great career as an analyst for ESPN, but you just put your foot in your mouth. Now, myself, Kyle, Shawn, we are not professional athletes, okay? We have not been to the professional part. Some of us, like Kyle, participated in college sport. Looking at this, different.
Semi-pro, technically.
In semi-pro. Okay, if you want to get technical, I've participated in semi-pro baseball and still coach semi-pro baseball, okay? So if we want to get part of the semi-pro aspect of it. But when it comes to professional, I'm making a point with this when I say, Monica McNutt, you never elevated yourself out of Georgetown to get to the WNBA. So for you to sit here and say the team success should warrant someone to tip the scales and why they should get the award, you didn't even discuss it along the lines of it being a coin flip, like Shawn said, because a lot of people out here are saying it's deadlocked at this moment, okay? If you were to stop the league today and that today be the final games and say after today, you vote, it would be deadlocked. Like Shawn said, you'd have to do a coin flip. Now, some people are going to take, the team aspect of it like Monica did and say that kind of tips the scales on why someone should get the award. Caitlin Clark has definitely rejuvenated the Indiana team, that they would not be what they are. They wouldn't be running a fever right now if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. But when you look at what Angel Reese is doing for her team, she's doing some really respectable things too. And give it time, maybe another year or two, they're going to be the powerhouses of the league. And not just for those two, they're going to build some other pieces around them because those franchises are going to want those two players to be the top stars of those franchises. And the only way you can do that is if you have like a Scottie Pippen or a Klay Thompson-like type of player that's going to complement your star, that being one of these two ladies right here. I see big things for them right here. But I highly disagree with what Monica had to say in her comparisons and in her reasoning why she chose one over the other. First of all, it's kind of like the first round topic that we had. It's a little too soon, in my opinion, for us to really be weighing our options out on it when it's that deadlocked and that much of a stalemate at this current time. We should give it another few weeks, closer towards the end of the season, and then we can see how everything pans out at that point.
Well, I got to throw something in. And, Coach, I don't mean to come off disrespectful. It's not me that's saying this, okay? But there's somebody here who wants to talk to you. Admiral Akbar is saying, it's a trap, okay? Here's the problem, man. You're talking about team-related stuff, but it's an individual stat. You're doing it based on who a player is facing, not the team's ranking and performance. Those are not the same thing. How a player performs against a team because they have a better defense is not a function of where a team's standing in and of itself. That is not the same thing. Matter of fact, if they are deadlocked, I absolutely love you using the schedule to determine the difference. Kind of like I did for Geno Smith earlier. But at day's end, if you also want to add the intangible of Caitlin Clark having more scrutiny, more pressure. I mean, for God's sakes, they're talking about her on Fox effing News, folks. What are we doing here? They're talking about her on MSNBC. Angel Reese isn't dealing with that in the same way. If you want to add that factor, that makes sense. Not the fact that the Indiana Fever as the last place team is now a potential playoff team and lower ranked than the Sky. That's ridiculous. I don't know if you're a Star fan, Coach. I just had to bring him in here.
No, I love it. I think you made a phenomenal point there. And I think, after going by, again, I said this earlier. I said my damn money was on Kyle Nash. So Kyle Nash is proving himself to be, he's proven himself to be a worthy opponent, I tell you.
If you bet on the over-under on Kyle Nash, you're definitely looking good for your investment right now. If we could get this into DraftKings, people start betting on these panelists, that would be absolutely mother-fathering awesome. I would love that in this moment.
That's 49.52 and 50.03, especially that second one. We might be able to get some ad dollars for that, Drew Willingham. Anyway,
hey, I'm all with it. Collaborations out here in these streets I'm talking about. And we've got some, I told you guys earlier we would have some ad reads at some point. Sick Diggy dropped a few out here. The In or Out Sports Debate is brought to you by Livewire Throw Drops. When you need to hit those vocals like Tyrone Alizé McDummy, Livewire Throw Drops will have you singing alto, tenor, and soprano at once. Livewire.
Calling
me president.
He also throws him in hard smack there's quencher. Brand new slap your silly strawberry and bombastic banana. It's not good. It's God smacking great. I love that dude, man. Sick Diggy comes all the way from Norway. He's not even in the United States. He is bringing us greatness all the way from another country. So you got to give a shout to him.
I do some collabs with Gould Clued there, Sick. So just so you know, Nicholas Jorgensen regularly comes on to talk Ravens on the Student of the Game podcast. Bing! This year as well. So be ready for that.
Travis also dropping in more dime, says team performance for an individual award. We do it all the time.
Let me have a conversation with my co-host who's arguing with me just to argue again, and he's going to lose again, just like he always does when he faces me and he forgets I have the microphone right now, and he's just a dude with a keyboard. That don't mean it's correct. That's the point.
Hashtag stats are dumb. I like it. And if you're just
I live by stats, right? I'm the stat guy, right? I live by stats too.
Coach, I do data for a living, but I joke with Travis here, as he and I will both tell you the stats. Numbers can lie, sir. Make no mistake.
I know. Whoa, not so fast. There was one famous rapper that said men lie, women lie, numbers don't. I'm a KPI guy myself, and I tell my guys all the time, you can KPI me to death, buddy, but at the end of the day, these numbers ain't lying.
The only number that doesn't lie is the score, my friend. You as a coach should know that. By the way, if you believe every number you hear, listen, this is low-hanging fruit to win this debate. I got some that Donald J. Trump dropped that you probably don't agree with. Uh-oh. Stats that lie. That's all I'm saying.
There you go.
We just leveled up on that one. Speaking of leveling up, if you guys are just tuning in to this platform, whether you're watching on any of the platforms streaming right now, please subscribe now. Never miss out on a new comment. Like, share, and subscribe. Help us out here on those algorithm streams. As Sick Diggy says, did at the Student of the Game just sound like a Southern belle for a moment there? He had me fooled.
I mean, listen.
About 10 minutes ago when you were talking.
Oh, no,
you did clutch your pearls.
I am a performance artist. I regularly do voice acting on my show. Listen, and no disrespect to my friend Drew Willingham, Big Jim Neese of Huddle Up Podcast. Bing! Guys who use soundboards are cool. I just carry my own with me wherever I go. That's okay.
Kyle, we're going to get to a point where I go and clip through a bunch of different clips out of all these 114 episodes, and I will just play my own soundboards just to give myself the energy to combat you by the final round. Because if I didn't have these buttons to click, I wouldn't have this fire energy at 10 o'clock at night. Okay, so give me a little break out here in these streams. Remember,
this was not a shot fired, man. Hey, listen, by the way, if you want to do that, I am more than happy to do a Paul Bunyan, John Henry style man versus machine contest. Let's go.
LMS brings in the mother-fathering Bing, too. We got the Bing in action tonight, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Constipated in Sin City is back in the house. Welcome back there, sir. Says, hey, Playboy Drew, what's up with you? We've had 5 straight days of 115 degree plus. We are expecting 118 plus until Saturday. Yes, here in Virginia has been pretty toasty as well. So if you're in the Richmond area here in Virginia, you are absolutely hating life during the day right now. That's all I got to say. Because in Virginia, we're going to have all 4 seasons in a week and sometimes in a day. So we're getting smacked hard with that humidity right now.
Excuse me, what's a season? I live in Florida. I don't know what those are.
Kyle, take your bougie weather somewhere else. And Sick Dicky says, stats aren't everything. There's more to any sport than analytics.
Sick Diggy, I disagree with you. I can't wait to get on the platform with you, sir, now because of that comment. Now you've got me intrigued. Whoa, Sick Diggy, not so fast.
The only caveat to that, as much as I love Sick Diggy, he is not a fan of the video streams. We'll have to come up with another type of show because this out of 114 episodes, we've all done video. So he takes no offense to it. Like, if you want to be a part of this show, you got to be a part of the video feed, and I got to have a picture for the graphic because that is prerequisite. I'm sorry. I will be bougie with that. That's just how this platform is. But you're seeing it all pays off as we get through the show. But Sick has been on my other platforms too, on my other shows too, which this is the only one that really requires you for a video feed. But I'll have to come up with some other way for us to get on a stream and to bring this back so you two can combat each other about this analytical statement that Sick said. Kyle, write down 5601 because I need to clip that out. Now,
yes.
We're back to the eye in the sky don't lie. Numbers may look. Hashtag Tape Watchers Unite.
This guy gets it. That's why he's my co-host.
I love it. It's absolutely great. Followed by, I live in Las Vegas. Yes, you do. Yeah, we have talked about that before. And you got a lot of sending going on out there. So we all understand now. I did. But everybody else knows what's up with Constipated in Sin City now that you talk about Las Vegas.
It says Sin City. If you don't know, you got bigger problems.
And CISC, what have I told you on these streams about? Call me by my government name. All right, we cannot be going by government names out here in these streams. But yes, you told me months ago that Willie Mays was going to die. And yes, he recently passed away. Rest in peace, Willie Mays. With a very long life into his 90s, a legend in the game of baseball. Also has some additional statistics added to his rep. No, actually, he did not, because Willie Mays' tenure within the league felt just short of the threshold. Same thing with Hank Aaron. So when you look at that, he still had a great career, 660 home runs. And with what he did, mainly with the Giants, played his last little bit of tenure with another team. But hey, Willie Mays, a legend forever in the game of baseball. Don't get me started on that topic because I love the game of baseball. But guys, great fire here for round 3. We got to take this into round 4. We got to debate the greatest to ever wear the number 14 in all of sports history.
Round 4.
Here with round 4. Whether you like it or not, tell us whether you're in or out. Bob Cousy is the greatest athlete to ever wear the number 14 in all of sports history. Shawn, we'll start this one out with you there, sir, for number 14. Is he on your list for the greatest to wear it? Are you in or are you out?
Not only am I saying I'm out, but I'm going to say hell no.
It got it. It got the hell no to the no.
Hell to the no. And let me tell you why. I love, hold on. Let me start by saying this. I appreciate the 60s, 70s Boston Celtics. I really do. I appreciate what they did. The 12 championships in 15 years. I appreciate that. I really do. But to say that he's the best number 14 to go into sports, that's no. I have a couple other 14s that I kind of like personally. And I will give Bob Cousy his credit. But, Bob Cousy, I'm a stat guy. We talk about stats all the time and all this other stuff. Bob Cousy only scored 18 points a game and averaged 5 rebounds a game. He won 14 championships because he was on a stacked Celtics team when they had no one else to play against beside the Minnesota Lakers, or whatever they called back then. They had one guy. So no, I would go NBA wise, and I have 4 different 14s that I like. Oscar Robertson, 12-time All-Star, NBA champion, Hall of Famer, and NBA MVP. The modern day Triple Crown winner in basketball. Then you go to baseball. I like, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. Don't know why he's not. Put me on the voting list. That's blasphemy in itself. I need to come back for that program because I'm a baseball guy too. Pete Rose, 7-time All-Star, 3 World Series, NL MVP, player manager, better 14. I'm going to go with my favorite 14 of all, and this is going to really surprise you, especially Kyle. Brendan Shanahan from the New York Rangers in the NHL. 8-time All-Star, 3-time Stanley Cup winner, Conn Smythe winner. That's my favorite number 14, Brendan Shanahan.
So Shanahan's your favorite 14. You definitely came up with a great one, and going with the game of hockey too. I mean, that's as physical as the game of hockey has been.
Hockey's some love here, right?
Yeah. It's about time we got a little bit of love for hockey in here for the first time in a while. So I respect that choice right there. Kyle, I already know you're probably out, but
listen. First of all, let the record show. Past 3 weeks, the student of the game has had hockey talk. So check that out, Coach, if you're into it. But yeah, of course, please. Fat Kid and Dodgeball. Let's go.
Fat Kid and Dodgeball, yeah.
Now, the silly data argument could be made. Oh, he only has 18 points. He also was a point guard for that Stag team and has to try to keep all that in check and moving under Coach Red Arbuck. You don't have greatness without a good court general, and Bob Cousy was that. However, the guy that makes me watch basketball and give a big, doing it. Listen, there's not a lot of video of him, but when you hear the stories, when you see what clips are out there, when you do your research, the big O himself, Oscar Robertson, has to be the answer. And by the way, doing it in a world where the merger, air quotes, hadn't happened yet. The Royals, apparently there was basketball in Kansas City in one point. What is that? I don't know. But Oscar Robinson's got to be the answer, hands down. I don't know how you go a different direction. I like that you went the hockey direction. Listen, I'm a hockey guy. If I didn't have 2 kids that could find more time, I would cover minor league hockey here, getting the Solar Blades with Orlando and all that. Or Solar Bears, rather. Everblades, Solar Bears. It's a rivalry. It's a thing they do. I don't go to enough of them, as you can tell, much to my chagrin. But, yeah, man, it's Oscar Robinson. I don't know how you go a different direction here, me personally. Although, Stephon Diggs is one of my favorite because of how smart he made me look lifting up the performance of Josh Allen during his tenure.
Great arguments by the two of you. So for Shawn named somebody that I've chose for this one, and I'm going to stick to that. But it also resulted in me going out as well. We are all out on this one. Yeah, Bob Cousy's 18 points a game. You know none of us were going to go with that, okay? Even though with basketball back then, you could sock somebody in the mouth and still keep driving and score points. It isn't this pacified game of basketball that we know where people want to say that, yo, king, LeBron James is the greatest of all time, okay? No, it's Michael Jordan, but we'll talk about that another day. We're talking about the greatest to ever wear the 14 number of all time. And did he gamble his way out of the sport? Yes. His name is Pete Rose. Okay. You should have known that somebody with the background in the game of baseball was going to choose the baseball player, especially somebody who played for as long as he did. The man has 4,256 mother-fathering hits in the game of Major League Baseball. Okay. He did it with 3 different teams. He's a 17-time All-Star in the game. He played from 1963 to 1986 as a player and the last few years as a player manager. And the team was starting to become successful during that tenure of him being a player manager, to the point that when he did get kicked out of the game, the team still won a World Series in spite of their manager being let go and banned from the game of mother-fathering baseball. Now, with all that being said, again, 17 All-Stars. He won. Okay, All-Star selections he had. 3-time World Series champions, 75 and 76, with that powerhouse Red team, okay, led by Sparky Anderson, the manager. But in 1980, after he was shipped to the Philadelphia Phillies, he helped lead them to a championship as well with another team, okay? That did have a stacked team with Mike Schmidt and so on and so forth. But he wasn't a slouch at the same time because he was the NL MVP in 1973, the World Series MVP in 1975 with that first World Championship that he won with the Reds, a 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, Silver Slug Award winner in 1981. So he was still getting it done in the 80s up until 5 years before his retirement as an active player. He won the Roberto Clemente Award in 1976. He's a 3-time NL batting champion in 1968, 1969, and 1973. Regardless of him being banned from the game of baseball to the point to where he can't be inducted into the Hall of Fame, they've still let up on a few things to where he can still participate in certain things within the game. And with that being said, he was honored with having his number 14 retired by the Cincinnati Reds not that long ago. Along with the fact that he is in a Hall of Fame, it is the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame. And as controversial as it was at the time in 1999 when he was selected to it, he was a part of the Major League Baseball All-Century team in 1999 and was allowed to be on the field to participate. So for all the people who throw shade at Pete Rose and for what he did, yeah, he lied. He made mistakes, okay? But like Shawn said, he deserves to be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. And he deserves to be in this conversation for the greatest to ever wear the number 14 because he wore that number in the span of 3 decades and was pretty successful within that 3-decade tenure, moving and transitioning from player to manager and doing both at the same time, which not many people have been successful in the last 50 years who have been player managers of a team. And actually, nobody's really done it successfully since Pete Rose did it. There's nobody that comes to mind that was a player or manager since his tenure, since 86 when he retired as an active player. If you go to another sport, you could argue that LeBron James is technically a player coach for whatever team he's played for within the past decade. But in the game of baseball, you tell me, because I am drawing a blank if it is the case, if there's been any other player manager in the game since 1986 when he retired as a player. The answer is no. And if they were successful, which the answer is no. So looking at this, regardless if he made off the field mistakes, which at some point need to be forgivable for his accolades that happened before that, be honored to where he gets into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. I'm going to give him his flowers as far as the greatest to wear 14 because somebody should, and I'm going to do it right here on my broadcast.
Hey, I'm glad you did. I wanted to dodge the whole gambling conversation and all that because inevitably I'd be forced to make the point of how irked are you as Pete Rose watching stadiums now have DraftKings buildings attached to the damn thing. Like, what are we doing right now? Come on, man.
I'm with you. I'm with you, but somebody had to. I got the cojones to do it. What do you think about this, Shawn? What are your thoughts when it comes to? You had alluded to it earlier with your choices, but when it comes to your pick, what do you think?
I agree. I said, Pete Rose is that guy. I think statistically he would probably be the best to wear 14. I agree with that. I threw him in there. Again, I just think he got the hose job of the century. Still to this day, I don't know what they have over this guy, but that's another topic. I swear, if you ever do who should be allowed in,
institute a fan vote in Cooperstown, maybe. I don't know.
That could. It could. And where he got screwed was Bart Giamatti had him sign that document, okay, and said that if he signs this document, then in a short period of time after reviewing it, he'll reinstate him. Well, the sad part was Giamatti passed away, and the next commissioners who've come in since then have all declined his option to be reinstated. So it just goes to show that even though you may be told to do something in the moment because somebody will let you back in a few years, if that person passes away, unless it's in their will that their decision is to let this happen, which I don't think a will and testament would work when it came to something like that, you're pretty much screwed. So Pete Rose should have probably waited a little bit longer because he was so desperate to get back in the game. He just signed that document Giamatti put in front of him. Had he not signed that document, we might not even be having this discussion, 35 years later since that, because this all happened in 88, 89 when he was banned from the game because he was still managing up until 88, 89.
But where are the baseball commissioners after that? All of them could have solved this problem, right? Yet another thing I can hang on Bud Selig's head, but there's been other guys too. They could have just as easily done the same thing. I don't want to hear all that.
Oh, no, I'm with you on that. I'm just saying that's the cop-out with this at this point. So had they wanted to do what's right for the game, they'd let him in, but if they reinstate him, it gives him an opportunity to coach again. I think they're pretty much waiting until he's feeble enough to where he's not going to be gunning for a coaching job, because even if today you reinstated Pete Rose, he's still in decent enough shape to where he has enough knowledge for the game because he's still been around it even from afar. He could still do something as far as in a leadership role, and I just don't think that Major League Baseball wants him at that part, considering how he has been with professional betting, and he's still kind of speaking about like DraftKings and other platforms today as far as how he doesn't have an issue with them. So putting all that aside, I just got to look at it for what it is. And in the comment section is definitely doing the same thing, as we've got a lot of people that are chiming in, especially when you look at Six saying, correction at the SOTG, the numbers don't lie, but they can be misleading depending on who's mentioning them.
And what is misleading but deception, which is a lie? Anyways, continue. Sorry.
Can anyone here share any memories of the all-time home run hitter? Are you talking about, which one are you talking about? You talking about Hank Aaron, or are you talking about the inflated one? So let us know here in the comments. Ernie Banks wore 14, as well as Y.A. Tittle. Dan Founts, Ernie Banks, Y.A. Tittle, and Oscar Robinson, says CISC. Along with, I'm truly split between Sam Darnold and Nathan Peterman.
Hold on. Don't be ridiculous, Travis. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Come on, man.
That's what I was going to say. At least give the beard some love.
It's going to be the Harvard kid there for me, too, The smartest quarterback to ever play in the NFL. So,
Real answer, Curly Lambeau.
Hey, Chris Chandler made it to a Super Bowl. I believe he's another Harvard guy. I could be wrong. I have to double check that.
Ivy League specialist. There was even a 3-point line back then.
Oh, for Oscar Robinson, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the GOAT. To wear 14? He didn't wear 14.
He's just making a step. By the way, ironically, Coach mentioned, Shawn, you mentioned a player with the Minnesota Lakers. Maybe you heard of this guy, Lou Alcindor. Yeah, him. He was on that. He was their number one guy there for a while before he was a Laker elsewhere. You get it.
And before he was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, okay? He's the same guy.
That's the point. I'm glad you caught up. Good job, Millennial. I mean, what?
Thank you for your shout out to Millennial Unicorns. Now, Pete Rose says chose his stipulations. Yes, he did. He signed that document. That's what I was talking about. He chose the stipulations within that by signing it.
He also chose that to play the game to be let back in. And that's the part we were talking. Anyway, I digress.
He never bet against his team. Yes, we are aware of that. He didn't, or at least provenly he didn't. And Pete Rose is in the WWE Hall of Fame, isn't he? Yes, he is in the WWE Hall of Fame. And that was around the time he got choke slammed by Kane or whatnot, back in the Attitude Era. So that all happened in the late 90s. What about Lenny Wilkins in Seattle won the 1977 NBA championship?
Oh, look, another team. Yes. Another team accolade to lift the player up.
Yeah, good job, Monica McNutt.
No.
Rose was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame Celebrity Wing in 2004. Okay, I thought it was 1999. That might have just been the time when he was actually choke slammed to the table by Kane. And Bartlett Giamatti, yes, that was him. I wonder if he ever buried the hatchet with Kane. Joe Torre wore 6, but he might have wore 14 during his playing days. But
we're back to this managers. Coaches wear numbers only in baseball. This is a bad no, God, why?
Give them a break. They got to have a number, too. We're all just a number out here in these streets. That's what baseball represents, Kyle Nash. But when it comes to all that, you guys brought some great fire to that. I did my best to keep up with it, and we have one more last commercial break to get to. But when we come back, get the final round, and we might just be talking about Yo King. We'll see you guys here on the other side.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. You kids from the block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason.
In a world where chronicles of the past are brought to the streams, whether the content is relatable or completely beyond your realm of life, there is no shadow of a doubt that this show is absolutely full of shenanigans. Get ready for
D. Willie in the evening.
This Sunday at 10:05 p.m. Eastern.
Exclusively on SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome. Whether it's news, the largest egg producer finds bird flu in chickens at a Texas plant, weather, devastating tornadoes rip through the heart of the United States, inspiration, a breast cancer survivor completed the journey of chemotherapy and now begins a future one of matrimony, or sports. Michael Jordan is shown on a photo with Diddy. LeBron James has a video extolling the virtues of a Diddy party. This has been yet another beating a dead horse presentation. We got you covered. BS3 Network, in association with QB Media Incorporated, proudly present The Morning Shift with Cole Johnson. Live every weekday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central. Oh, yes. The tradition, the pageantry, the spectacle, the history, the slut. Wait. I gotta rep my brother's stuff right. All my DMV soldiers, stand up! And welcome to the Commander's Gridiron Report. You want your commanders to be repped right? Well, D. Willie is your man. Commander's Gridiron Report. Every Tuesday at 11:05 a.m. Eastern, 10:05 a.m. Central on the SIRTOBA Media YouTube channel. Music by J. Cool.
Where my soldiers, right side, commanders. Where my soldiers, left side, commanders.
Welcome back to the In or Out Sports Debate, episode 114. Myself, Drew Willingham, along with 12-time Vault of Fame inductee Kyle Nash, and new panelist Shawn Mears are here tonight to bring you the action as we've gone through 4 rounds already. And during that commercial break, you heard about the Gridiron Report. Coming back, the Commander's Gridiron Report will be back next Tuesday at 11:05 a.m. Eastern time. But we are here right now for episode 114, and we still have one fire round. Will we be talking about Yo King? Will we not be talking about Yo King? Will we be talking about Yo Prince? No, we would not be talking about Bronny James Jr., but we have some things at bay for the final round, and let's get to it.
Final round.
There's Yo King. I left him on the graphic for you as we talk about Buddy Hield made the right choice in signing with the Golden State Warriors over the LA Lakers. Based on this topic at hand, based on this graphic at hand, Kyle Nash, how do you feel? Are you in or are you out on this one there, brother?
You know, I never got to use a number of my things, but instead, this argument is Prego. It's in there. Now, as much as I worry for Drew Willingham, literally every episode I'm on this show as he attempts to again try to hate on LeBron James and look like a fool doing it, turning his head and about ready to hurt himself. Yo, hold on. Yo, Kang, I don't have the beard. It doesn't work. I need to not shave one time. Listen, here's the thing, guys. It's a good thing to dodge the Lakers right now. Matter of fact, really, I think the only reason LeBron's still there is because he knew he could manipulate this front office to get his son in the game. Okay, listen, LeBron James has entered the mogul stage as a Hall of Famer, as somebody who's among the greats. Yes, I know. I make fun of Drew Willingham as a LeBron James hater, but the truth is MJ is the GOAT. He's got that much right. We're tangenting, but if you can't tell up front that this front office is an absolute mess, I get it. You don't want to be coached by a guy who was just only a year ago in wait. You mean they hired the podcaster? Okay, well then what else do we have to talk about? Seriously, what are we doing? The Lakers have bailed themselves out with big swings and just getting dumb lucky, okay? This is a franchise that was so bad that they couldn't surround Kobe Bean Bryant, right? Everyone forgets that they got eliminated. Phoenix made the playoffs, and on Stephen A. Smith's show in New York, I want to be traded. Everybody conveniently forgets about that. Yeah, I know. May he rest in peace. He still deserves his flowers and is a great player. All that, fine. But this front office has been terrible, and it's been terrible for some time. While LeBron James did bring a championship, regardless of how much people want to tear it down, Drew, that is something that actually artificially lengthened the life of that front office. If you want to avoid this mess, I ain't mad at you. I'm not mad at Danny Hurley. There's a reason why they had to hire JJ Redick. I'm just saying. So yeah, if you want to dodge this organization, I ain't mad at you. If you want an opportunity to work with Steph Curry, and I get it, Draymond Green, Lil Nutty too. He ain't going to be around for that much longer either. You'll still have Steph Curry when that's done. You'll still have excellent coaching when that's done in Kerr and all of that. You have none of that with the Lakers.
Well said, beside your shade. Okay. Well said, beside the shade, Kyle Nash.
Yeah, listen, I know what shade is. You were throwing it too. You protected me from the sun despite the fact it's 10 o'clock or 10:30 at night here in Florida.
Hey, we might not have your bougie weather, but if you come down to Virginia, it's still hot as a mother father outside, okay? So you take that and you run with it, all right? Now, with that being said, Shawn, how do you feel? Are you going to agree with Kyle here? Are you going to be in like Prego, or are you going to be out and about?
I'm going to be out. And, it's funny because my take says out, but really it should be in. But because it's out and I'm going to pull this thing in to make it make sense. And I can do that by channeling my inner old NWA Jim Crockett Promotions, Dusty Rhodes, The American Dream, Hard Times speech. And the Laker fans, they don't know what hard times is, right? Hard times is when textile workers get laid off from their job because they don't have enough money to pay for their food. Hard times is when auto workers get laid off from their job and the man, after working there for 30 years, gives them a watch and a kick in the butt and says, hey, a computer took your job, daddy. That's hard times. The Laker fans need to shut the hell up for a second.
Yes.
And to figure out what hard times really is. Because during the 80s, they got spoiled. Some of the 90s, they got spoiled. Now they're turning into regular old teams. So they need to understand what hard times is. And right now, LeBron James is showing the Laker fans what hard times is. Buddy Hield made a smart decision by going the other way because he has aging superstars over there. He'll probably get more shots. And if you look at the numbers, Buddy Hield averaged in his career 4 3-pointers a game. Well, the man that they brought him to replace, Klay Thompson, consequently, numbers don't lie, he averaged about 4 3-pointers a game. So, to me, it was a good move.
I like it. I like both of your takes on that. It's very, very tough for me to make this decision. And I tossed and turned with this one out of all of them a little bit more based on some things that both of you said. Kyle's in, Shawn, you're out. And you almost convinced me to go to out with the Hard Times promo because you see the championships behind me. I'm a fan of professional wrestling. The only thing that sucks with my current work schedule is I have to do this show during Monday Night Raw, okay? But I go back and watch it afterwards. Yes, I guess you can throw that out there about the millennials, Kyle, about us loving the current aspect of professional wrestling. But the love for that got my homies from the wrestling realm and championship culture to make that awesome custom championship that has all 4 major SIRTOBA Media shows on the side plates. And we'll go about that later. But you can see it as it has a brand new casing that came in via Amazon today for $6.87. So yes, we'll talk about that later. But with all of that being said, as much as I don't want to disagree with Shawn because he brought in the great Hard Times promo, unfortunately I have to agree with Kyle and give him his flowers here. Let's bring it up one more time. Let's talk about Yo-K right here on that graphic. One more time, Yo-K. Look at his face on the left. He is angry at Buddy Hield for not coming to LA. And I think what Buddy Hield said when he looked over at this roster was, let's go take it and run with this team and get a championship. No, he said this.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, no, to the no, no.
We may be in the final round, but
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
Now, guys, sit back and relax as
you guys want to hear a fucking story.
But we put all that together. By the end of this spiel, you're probably going to be looking at me and saying, Drew,
English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Because what I may say may or may not be in agreement with you. And if that's the case, I'm going to say this back at you. Damn! All right, when it comes to Buddy Hield looking at the Lakers as a team that he could win a championship, yes, they've won a championship in the past 4 seasons, but if you look at the past 10 years, Steph Curry has 4 championships to LeBron's 1. If you look since 2014, because they won in Miami in 2012 and 2013, in the past 10 years, LeBron James has 1 championship, and it has the hugest of all asterisks by it because he did it during the bubble. He has a bubble championship. So if you are going to look at this team right here, the LA Lakers, a team with a player that's about to turn 40, and you don't know what he's going to be once he turns 40. Yes, he's in great shape. Yes, he's done a great job in taking care of his body and elevating with the game of basketball and is still producing better numbers than the majority of the league. Then he's still in the top 10 of the league as a 39-year-old, okay? But Steph Curry is still a dog, and people want to come play with Steph because Steph still has an easy 4 to 5 years left in the game if he wants to be here that long. LeBron is year to year. Now with everything that they did with the Lakers and bringing in Bronny, it screams the point that LeBron's not going to be there much longer, that this is the tail end of his story in the game of the NBA as far as an active player. We may get him for 1, 2, or 3 years at most, I believe. I don't think that we're going to see him beyond that. And if we do see him for a 4th year beyond this, it's only going to be to play with Bryce if he continues to play well enough to where he can, feel like he won't be disrespecting the game by continuing to play because the man doesn't need the money anymore. He could have retired 5 years ago if he wanted to. He doesn't need the money. Buddy Hield going to the Warriors brings up a great point by Kyle talking about how you want the opportunity to get more shots because going to Golden State, you're going to get that opportunity now that Klay Thompson's gone and gone to the Dallas Mavericks. They need younger talent that can help them out on this team. And when you look at what he did last year with the split time between the Pacers and the 76ers, okay, started the year out with the Pacers, 52 games, shot 38.4% from 3, shot 38.9% from 3. Is that a great number? Not necessarily, but when you need that type of help beyond the arc, besides just Steph Curry doing it, and need more options to get open to give you a chance at scoring points, I feel like he helps you out there. His field goal percentage has gone down tremendously, though, in the past couple seasons. And that's something I want to point out here that is a little bit concerning with Buddy Hield, as it went from 45.8 a year ago to between the two teams he just played with, he had 44.3 with the Pacers, and then when he went to the 76ers, it went down to a little over 42. That part concerns me a little bit, but you also know he's going to give you at least 3 rebounds per game, at least 3 assists per game, and close to about a steal per game. He's averaging double-digit points per game still, and he's still averaging over 12 points per game, which can be very beneficial. However, it is not a lateral move by losing Klay Thompson and bringing in Buddy Hield. I want to bring that to the point right here, that being for the Warriors. However, for Buddy Hield picking between the two teams in California, well, I guess 3 if you want to consider LA Clippers as being a contender for bringing somebody in, even though there was never any discussion about it. Between those teams in California, I guess you look at Sacramento too, but I mean, between the teams over there, you have to look at Buddy Hield's decision to go with the Warriors over the Lakers is a very smart one because of the things that were brought up earlier by you guys and the fact that you got an aging LeBron James, you got AD who may not even be there by the time LeBron's contract ends. They may end up moving him or he may go elsewhere. And then you've got over there at Golden State, you got a little bit more stability. You got a younger core. You've also got Steph Curry, who isn't vocal about leaving the game within the next year or two. If you went to the Lakers on a 3 to 5 year deal, and LeBron's gone into, and the team looks like the LA Lakers when Kobe was on his way out the door, I mean, that's going to be an absolute dumpster fire of a team to where your coach may be saying this by the 3rd or 4th week of the season.
What's that? Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
Was that a total
surprise, motherfucker?
Oh!
Yeah! Yeah!
Come on, Devon Dudley!
Oh, my brother! Testify!
You fans out there, you know.
You like that? You like that?
If you were looking for a show with sports coverage, statistics, even though some people don't like the numbers, and facts along with a little bit of shenanigery.
You got the right one, baby!
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
There it is. There it is. Even had to bring Bruce on up in this motherfather. You guys have a rebuttal to that? Or did I just completely go off the rails?
Rowan Gardner off the rails once again. Absolutely.
Yeah. Once again.
I am the game. And I am that damn good.
Why are you just hitting buttons, man? Come on.
You love it. The fans up there are loving it as they come in through the comments. This is from he must have commented this as we were going into that last commercial break. Said the inflated one screams into the void. They're all inflated. You think Babe Ruth with that big old jug head wasn't powdered down before knocking out those pitches from part-time mailmen out of the park?
Travis, everybody was a part-time mailman. That's because playing baseball didn't pay for jack. Do better.
Let me talk to you.
The only thing that he was powdering down was the fact that he was throwing back like a dozen hot dogs and a few cold ones before the game, okay? So he wasn't inflated. He was more like deflated a little bit. Imagine if he was in better shape.
How many pitching wins does Barry Bonds have? I'm just asking. You know, for a friend.
Somebody who doesn't know baseball knows a very great stat line there, Colin. For that, I give you this.
Acknowledge me.
You're acknowledged, brother.
I gotta make sure to clarify that means I am the tribal chief, not yokai.
You can't handle the truth.
Even Ike chimes in on Yo King and says, Yo King is the GOAT.
Hell to the no, to the no, 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 no. Hell no, no.
You know, liar.
Come on, bruh. Come on now. You know better than that, Ike. I can't believe you brought that blasphemy out here in these streams. I have 8 1-and-1s, Buddy H5R rookie card. Constipated in Sin City. I'm not sure what in the father you just said, but I'm going with it. All right, I'm with you. You forgot LeBron winning a championship in Cleveland. Yeah. He did win a championship in Cleveland. My apologies.
This
But
you.
but you know what's sad, CISC, is that the man went to 8 consecutive NBA finals and lost 5 of them. Okay?
We're going to do this again? Do I have to dunk on your horrible argument again, or do you have a clip for it already?
That's terrible.
How many consecutive first-round exits did Jordan have? I'm just throwing that out there.
But when he finally got it together, the man was unstoppable. And when he made it to the NBA Finals, it never took him past Game 6 to win, and he's 6-0 in the finals with not 1 but 2 three-peats. Okay.
His wins against the Knicks are more impressive than anything he did against those sorry teams he played out west. Let's be clear about that. With the Trailblazers and the Jazz, Jeff Hornacek was your real biggest threat with Karl Malone and Stockton. Please, come on. Greg Ostertag called, I'm not intimidated. But I think you have to give somebody a little credit in one particular place. And I say this again as somebody who's an MJ GOAT guy. Michael Jordan needed Jerry Kramer. LeBron James is a far better than GM than Michael Jordan ever was. I'm just saying.
Michael Jordan really wasn't a GM, though.
That's
Jerry Krause.
That's the joke.
Yeah, but when you look at it this way, Kyle, again, you keep saying about the GM part. LeBron James has played in a pacified era. If Jordan played in the era that LeBron James did, he would be averaging like 45 to 50 points hands down because of a foul.
I mean, yeah. Hey, listen. I like when you use arguments I've made on the student of the game. Bing!
Well,
it makes it a lot easier.
Let me chime in here. Like my grandfather used to always say, if was a fifth, then we'd all be drunk. But it's not.
Here's the thing.
I like that.
Did you say it was uncle or your granddad? I forget what you said.
My granddad.
Your granddad. Your granddad is, I'm drunk with that wisdom. Actually, that's a great saying. However, the facts of the case being, seeing Michael Jeffrey Jordan on The Last Dance get hyped up and in competitive spirit, playing a game of quarters with the security staff, you're going to try to tell me in a world where the three-point shot is more pronounced that he would not be practicing them with the same vigor? No, this is where Drew is correct. Not so much him calling this era weak, which he's right. This is why you should watch the WNBA, because those ladies play physical. A, B, come on, man. You and I both know, Coach, he'd hit that 3 if he was practicing like that. Come on now.
You know that LeBron's trying to come after Jordan like this.
You may claim to be the best in the world, but I'm better than you. And you know it.
And Jordan's just like,
you should know your role and shut your mouth.
Absolutely. See what you just did here, CISC? We went on a rant for like 3 minutes over this because of that. But another great comment. When the last comment before we tail this thing on out is, how many NBA finals did you guys get to?
Who is you guys?
Yeah, I never played in the NBA.
Listen, I in Orlando, I'm here for 4 bricks. I don't know what you're talking about.
Pablo Banchero, right?
Listen, Paolo's good. That's a whole other conversation. But I don't know. Anyways,
that was absolutely great, guys. We got one more thing we got to get to before the final word, and that is the acknowledgement of the Vault of Fame.
Acknowledge me.
Here at the In or Out Sports Debate Vault of Fame, it's time to acknowledge that Shawn Mears is now locked in the vault with episode 114, joining Kyle, who is now a 13-time Vault of Fame inductee. You guys welcome into the party that just keeps on rocking and rolling each and every week, as this is now the updated leaderboard here for the In or Out Sports Debate Vault of Fame through 114 episodes. Kyle Nash creeping up on Rob Johnson, and with calling his shot earlier today, we're going to try to make this thing happen before the end of the summer, which you guys can definitely check out this show on Facebook, Instagram, X, YouTube, and at SIRTOBA.com, where the struggle is real to be awesome. We've only got one more thing to do before we look at one awesome outro, and that is take it to the final word. And here with the final word out of everything we've discussed in this show, between the 5 rounds, between the random comments, like talking about Yo King, Kyle Nash.
You should really get a chiropractor. The way you turn your neck, Jesus.
How do you know I don't see one on a regular basis anyway, Kyle Nash? It gives me the movement to go King.
I just wanted to ask that you see a chiropractor with a C. Okay, that's
see, that was good. And with that being said, let's take this into the final word for your thoughts there, Kyle, as we round out this show there, sir.
Well, first of all, a shout to all my wrestling buddies out there, wrestling fan buddies, I should say. I think there was a topic out there for John Cena announcing his final retirement tour here, but we couldn't see it. Anyways, listen, an honor, joy, and privilege to jump aboard once again, Coach. Fantastic work coming in. Shawn Mayer, listen, Mears around here is a cab company, and I can tell you, you were on time to pick up the good sports thoughts, and you dropped off plenty of stats at the proper location. There you go. Listen, I had a great time coming on one more time with my good friend Drew Willingham. Thanks, and of course, shouts to the comments. I don't have a whole lot more add beyond my John Cena tribute, but I will say this: while I'm not a fan of wrestling, the WWE stock is going to keep my family nice in retirement. It is, in fact, in my wife's portfolio and has made me money. So, hey, I have at least that going for me as far as my WWE followage, Drew Willingham.
Okay. Okay, very impressive. It is a new thing I learned about Kyle Nash tonight, is he is invested in what I'm a fan of. I appreciate you and your wife for your service to my fanhood.
You're looking after my kids, Drew Willingham. Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about. Every time I tune in, every time I click a like button, a share, subscribe for WWE, I'm helping my man Kyle Nash, and that gives me even more incentive to go back and watch tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw once this is over. With that being said, with Kyle's final thoughts, what are your final thoughts there, Shawn, as we get into the final word?
Well, before I go into my rant, I'd like to again acknowledge the wonderful platform that I'm on. Thank you guys so much for having me. Drew, you're awesome in all your ways. Kyle, I've learned so much from you, and you are you are the real deal. You're worth the price of admission, but I'm worth the price of admission too in my own right. And so this is what I got to say. And I got a problem here. It's too much daggone basketball. All right. And I say that to say this. Basketball starts in October, so they say, but no, that's the regular season, right? And it ends in April. No, that's what they say. That's the regular season. But then you have playoffs, and then you got this weak playoff schedule to where we just had a freaking parade in the last week of June for the Boston Celtics. And guess what started up? Olympics. After that, Summer League. And then we get basketball. You know what? Too much damn basketball. How about you push basketball back to November, back to Thanksgiving or somewhere after that, and let baseball have its time. Let football have its time. It's too much damn basketball. That's my final word. I'm out.
Yes, he did it. I was waiting for the paper rip. I saw Legacy of Fire, and we got it tonight. That is what I'm talking about. Thank you both for the expressions of gratitude for being here, and I greatly appreciate it. And we will definitely have to do this again. This was absolute fire. And with that being said, I just had my night made when he ripped that paper. Straight up. That was great. It's kind of like when Kyle Nash comes up here and gives us 48 or 49 bings. Those make my night, and that made my night with the paper rip, just like, yo, King head turn made y'all's night too, okay? There it is. My neck feels pretty damn good right now, okay? So there it is, Kyle. Chiropractor ways are helping out these mother, father in the streets. There it is. Now, with that being said, I hope I didn't go too hard on Monica McNutt tonight, okay? I hope I didn't. I hope there's nobody out there that's going to act like a snowflake about it. And if you are, I guess you're just going to have to
acknowledge me
for going a little bit too far. But when it comes to what Primetime said, I feel like it's going to go this way.
Ain't nobody care. Who cares? Ain't nobody care.
Because if you do throw a lot of shade at me for how I felt about Monica McNutt putting her foot in her mouth, Rick James said it best.
Now, that is absurd.
Even Chris Jericho, Y2J, during the Attitude Era, had some words of wisdom that I feel like I should share with you right now.
Would you please shut the hell up?
So, all that shade aside, let's get back to what we were talking about, and that is the game of sport. Looking here, looking now, yes, it's a little bit quiet for the game of football right now, but we are only 2, not 1, but 2 weeks away from training camp, from real training camp, as we get closer to NFL action. You see on Total Football Talk on Monday mornings or Monday afternoons, it changed the time, changed my bad, but you see that we talk about UFL, CFL, and NFL. We've been keeping things going with the CFL. There's been some interesting topics within that, but not everybody covers or watches the game of CFL action because they don't like that there's 3 downs to a first down instead of 4, and there's 55 yards each side of the field to a touchdown, and I digress, okay? I don't want to go too far because some of you might be like, I'm not interested in this. I want to get back to something that you're actually interested in, okay? Right here, right now, when it comes to the game of football, I am excited. I'm excited because my guys, Kyle Nash and Travis Holmes, to talk about the Duval Dives action when it comes to the Jaguars podcast, and they and their intellectual takes on their vision for the Jaguars team are getting me excited, which, shout out to them, it's a big reason why we are going to get the Commander's Gridiron Report back next week. So the unit's gone, but I thought that picture was pretty cool to put in there with the belt because bing, there it is. Now, when it comes to my final word on my thoughts, first of all, this right here was one great episode, and I look forward to each and every episode each week, but this one was another special one. Both of the guys brought in some great firepower on each and every topic. Even gave me some ideas for other appearances down the road, especially Kyle bringing up Rob Johnson, which, now my gears are turning, but who's to say that you two and Rob Johnson can't come on here? We have a quads edition or whatnot, throw down the fire at some point on a Monday night. That right there is what I'm thinking about in this moment. But with all that being said, we've had 114 episodes, great action on here. 115's next week, but I couldn't do this without the people who come here and give me their time and bring me what they've prepared for with their notes and bring it out by spewing it out with just straight fire each and every topic. And for that, for what I've built here and this platform that everybody else has been helping me build with their viewership, their liking, their sharing, and their subscribing, I can't do it all without you guys. So thank you very much to both of you for making the time tonight for me, for this show, my people out here in these streams, for the 100 plus of you watching right now as we are live. Thank you very much between all the platforms. Thank you. A special thank you to Kyle for sharing it to some of his platforms to get some extra eyes on the show tonight. As we have surpassed over 100 people watching it in real time, it makes it hard for me to end the show because the numbers just keep growing as the minutes go on, and it feels good. But these guys don't work a late night schedule like I do until 3 o'clock in the morning in IT, to where they're just getting started at this time of night. I understand that, and I respect that, and that's why we have to close up shop. But with that being said, I can't thank you guys anymore for what you brought to me tonight and help bringing the best out of me too. So, because I'm only as good as the people that come in to work with me.
I'm just glad you resisted the urge to not bring up Thomas Edward Patrick Bieber Brady with the 12 over Shawn's head there.
He's got it there, and of course, if I would have known that prior or kept that fresh in my head, I would have tried to get you here for episode 112, where we debated who the greatest of all time was to wear 12, and I did go for Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II.
So shocked.
And Cole goes junior every time I say the second when we have Total Football Talk. He brings that to me each and every time.
To be fair, he does that also for Patrick LaVon Mahomes II. So, I mean, he's consistent.
I love your guys' use of the government names. It's remarkable.
You got to earn that, though, Coach. Listen,
I love it.
Charles Donald, it's not just quarterbacks. Travis Michael Kelsey's a thing. You know, you Peyton Williams Manning. You got to earn it, though, right? Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Kobe Bean Bryant. You know, if I knew Wayne Gretzky's middle name, sure.
It's only a Google search away. You can find it.
We talking hockey like that, though.
It's time that we adjust, because one last thing before we get out of here, hockey has been trending upward in the United States over the last decade. And you know, a sport that Shawn brought up a very great point on his last Legacy on Fire. I'm glad that we brought this came to mind before the show ended. The average cricket player making over $5 million a year. That is burning my head. I played the wrong sport growing up.
Yeah. I can still fit a tight polo shirt and a pair of white slacks.
In fairness, they are paid in euros, right?
Yeah, khakis though. Like I just.
Hey man. Hey, I can find a tight polo shirt and a pair of khakis somewhere. I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm rocking a polo shirt right now.
Okay, I have a problem with that. Where you can find it, Coach. Target.
Yeah, Target. But yes, one question I do have with your research on that, because you said the average cricket player makes $5 million. So what does the top players make? What was their average on like the top?
The top cricket. The only thing that I did get was the top cricket player, and he averages $14.4 million per year, and he plays for some Indian team. Yeah.
So there's only like an $8 or $9 million difference between the average player and the top player.
Yeah,
I say it's a pretty balanced league, because you look at other leagues, like even though he has won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years, Patrick Mahomes is a $500 million contract, making $500 million, even though there's a lot of it's deferred until after he retires to help the team out. But in cricket, it seems like it's pretty balanced. When you got your top tier guys making 14, your average making 5, and your lower tier probably still making $1 million.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty intriguing stat. I'm glad that popped in my head before the show ended, because I want to make sure that I gave you the props for that. Hey, I pay attention, brother. I got to do research on you to understand what to talk about before we get here. So I do my homework.
International force is important, guys. Remember, Gisele Bündchen made more money than Thomas Edward Patrick Brady II ever did.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with marrying well. There's nothing wrong with it at all.
I ain't meaning like that. I mean, because she's an international star. Cricket players are internationally bound. They're not just American popular. Though that being said, you could certainly see members of the Irish NFL show on the Student of the Game this upcoming week as we preview the AFC West. Bing!
One last time, because the comment came in earlier, I have to bring it up again. Oh, wow. There's so many comments that I lost it. I was trying to bring it up. Oh, here it is. Bing! There you go, Kyle Nash. Trying to make sure that I brought it up one more time. Thank you all for tuning in as we are concluded episode 114 of the In or Out Sports Debate. We only have one more thing left to do, and that's look at one badass outro for the coach, Shawn Mears, for the student of the game, Kyle Nash. I'm your host, Drew Willingham. Everyone, as always, stay safe out here in these streets.
SIRTOBA Media, where the struggle is real to be awesome.
You don't have to go home, but you got to get your cell phone on up out of here. Everybody stay safe out here in these streets.